Are you ready for what might be the greatest Pokemon Go event ever, even bigger than Go Fest? The Pokemon Go Wild Area event is happening November 23rd to 24th from 10 a.m. to 6:15 p.m. daily. During this event, you'll encounter Pokemon at higher levels than ever seen before, take on unlimited remote raids, and, rumor has it, there's even a way to finally catch those elusive Galarian birds easily without a Master Ball. But with a huge event like this, preparation is key. How many storage spaces should you clear? How many Pokeballs should you have? Which raids are worth your time? I got you covered. In this video, I'll answer all these questions and share my top 5 tips to maximize your time during the Pokemon Go Wild Area Global event. So let's dive in with tip number 1, catch those mighty Pokemon. For starters, all mighty Pokemon have some shared traits. Firstly, mighty Pokemon can be identified by the yellow effects surrounding them. Their CP will also be hidden and instead show triple exclamation points. Mighty Pokemon can be caught at levels 40 through 45 if they are not weather boosted, and at levels 45 through 50 if they are weather boosted. Mighty Pokemon will have a high IV floor with 13, 13, 13 minimum guaranteed IVs. They will appear as fully evolved Pokemon. They can be shiny in their fully evolved form. They will more likely be XL or XXL when caught, and will be very aggressive and hard to catch. So it's recommended to use Golden Raspberries and Go Safari Balls to make them easier to catch. And that's where the differences between mighty Pokemon and regular Pokemon end. They don't have different moves, and nothing makes them better than regular Pokemon except the fact that they require less Stardust and less Candy XL to max them out. Now, if you're wondering which mighty Pokemon you should focus on, I'll summarize their usefulness, but I also highly recommend that you go and check out an article on PokemonGoHub.net where they go through each of the mighty Pokemon that'll be available during the event and talk about their usefulness in greater detail. I'll leave that linked in the description below. Starting with mighty Pokemon available on Saturday, November 23rd, Pidgeot leads us off. Pidgeot is useful for raids, but Mega Pidgeot is preferred. Mega Pidgeot is one of the best flying types in Pokemon Go. For PvP, Pidgeot is a solid pick for Great and Ultra Leagues. Golem has 2 of the best offensive typings in the game. Recommended as a budget counter against Pokemon weak to rock and ground type moves like Origin Form, Dialga, and Toxtricity within raids. For PvP, again, the rock and ground type combo works well for Golem in Great and Ultra Leagues, but may struggle against common counters in those leagues. Similar to Pidgeot, Gyarados needs to Mega Evolve to be the most effective in raids. Though Gyarados is useful in just about every league, which it really shines in Master League Premier, and is a real threat to Dragon-type Pokemon. Though not a top pick for raids, Luxray can serve well as an Electric-type budget counter in raids. In PvP, it performs decently in Great League, but its stats make it fragile. Scolipede is an average option for raiding, and in PvP, it works well with Mega Horn in Great League and can resist Fairy and Fighting type attacks. Unfortunately, no good in Ultra and Master Leagues. Simply put, Galvantula's stats are bad. It is not recommended for raids. For PvP, however, Galvantula is amazing in Great and Ultra League PvP, and resists a lot of counters. One of the best mighty Pokemon to focus on. In raids, Tyrantrum can be useful for rock-type attacks like Meteor Beam. Switching to PvP, it's useful for rock-type offensive coverage, but it's outclassed in all leagues. Unfortunately for raids, you can forget about using Toxapex. However, in PvP, it's a high defense tank, which is good for Great League, and only Great League. Switching over to mighty Pokemon available only on Sunday, November 24th, Venusaur is a nice raid attacker, but Mega Venusaur is way better. In PvP, Venusaur continues to work its magic. It leads as the most powerful grass-type attacker, performs great in Ultra League, and has play in Master League, resisting a number of favorite counters. Unfortunately, Poliwrath is another victim to bad stats. It cannot be recommended for raids. However, Poliwrath is an option to consider for Great and Ultra Leagues. Pokemon Go Hub attributes this largely to the use of stat-changing moves like Icy Wind and Power Up Punch. In raids, Dragonite is a decent Dragon-type attacker, though it's outclassed by better Dragon types. Dragonite continues to be useful as an evergreen choice across all 3 leagues in PvP, so make sure you add it to the list of ones to get. Feraligatr is far outclassed by other water-type Pokemon in raids, though it can be used if you're running low on counters. However, for PvP, get Feraligatr. It's crucial in the current PvP meta, and it's great for Great and Ultra Leagues. Electivire is a great choice as an electric type raid attacker, and it outclasses some legendaries in DPS or damage per second. However, for PvP, it's just not cut out for PvP. In raids, simply put, Mamoswine is an excellent choice for raids, so truly a must-have Pokemon. In PvP, it's great for Master League, but can perform either really well or cause you a lot of trouble. Unfortunately, Electros lacks stats to be worth using in raids, but it does have a versatile moveset, but is outclassed in Great and Ultra Leagues. Finally, Dragalge unfortunately lacks stats to be worth using in raids. It's usable, but largely not worth investing in PvP. So how are you going to catch all these mighty Pokemon? Coming in at tip number 2, you need to use Go Safari Balls. Let's recap what Go Safari Balls are. Go Safari Balls are designed to increase your chances of catching any Pokemon, not just mighty Pokemon, any Pokemon. More on that in a second. All trainers will receive a timed research task during the event that awards a small number of Go Safari Balls when completed. Event ticket holders will get these tasks each hour during the event. And oddly enough, there's a web store exclusive ticket that issues one timed research for $1.99 USD. You can also get more Go Safari Balls by spending photo discs at Pokestops during the event. Be warned though, all unused Go Safari Balls will disappear from your item storage at 6:15 p.m. each day of the event. Thanks to trainers on the ground in Fukuoka, Japan during the in-person event, we know exactly how useful Go Safari Balls are. They're OP. While using Go Safari Balls, cat circles have been observed going from dark red to orange or even green, especially with the use of golden raspberries. And you'll need to use these for a specific reason I'll mention later in the video. Something else you'll also need coming at tip number 3, you'll need to use Dynamax Drilbur. Dynamax Drilbur was introduced during the simply groundbreaking event that just ended and was available for an hour during Max Monday on November 18th. So I hope you caught a few. If possible, you're going to need to evolve them into Excadrill, level them up to at least level 40, switch the fast attack to a ground type move, and level up each max move to at least level 2, especially if you want the best counter to take down both Dynamax and Gigantamax Toxtricity. Both are double weak to ground type attacks and are also weak to psychic attacks. Though if you miss out on Dynamax Drilbur, don't worry. Gigantamax and Dynamax Gengar and Dynamax Metagross will be very useful, especially with psychic type attacks. Keep in mind, it may take 10 or more trainers to take down Gigantamax Toxtricity, especially depending on strategy you may be using and the quality of counters being used by the trainers helping out. If you made it this far into the video, comment your favorite emoji and let me know what your plans are for the Wild Area event. Next up with tip number 4, you need to raid Origin Form Palkia and Origin Form Dialga. First introduced during the Pokemon GO Tour event in Los Angeles earlier this year, Origin Form Dialga and Origin Form Palkia quickly became 2 of the most valuable legendary Pokemon in the game. And it's pretty clear why you should raid them. In raids, they're both S-tier dragon type attackers. Dialga itself is an S-tier steel type attacker, and Palkia is an A-tier water type attacker, and both rank really well in Master League PvP. On top of that, both have the chance to know their signature moves, or otherwise known as Adventure Effect moves. I'll get into what those are and how they work in a second. I may create a separate video later covering both Origin Form Palkia and Origin Form Dialga. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in that. For now, I've created 2 raid guide infographics for you to use. They're both available in the Alpha Squad Discord in the Pogo community channel. I've included a link to the Discord in the description below. Now about those Adventure Effect moves for tip number 5. Use the Adventure Effect moves. Adventure Effect moves are temporary perks that can enhance your Pokemon Go journey. They are triggered by powerful Pokemon attacks that can be used outside of battle. They only can be used one at a time and cannot be learned with any TMs. And at this time, a total of 4 Pokemon know Adventure Effect moves. Origin Form Dialga can know the Adventure Effect move Roar of Time, which costs a minimum of 5,000 Stardust and 5 Dialga Candy. Roar of Time pauses the timers of Incense, Daily Adventure Incense, Lucky Eggs, and Star Pieces for 6 minutes. But be warned, this gets expensive quick. Using Roar of Time for 1 hour sets you back 50,000 Stardust and costs 50 Dialga Candy. The effect can last for up to 24 hours, but has to be used in 2-hour increments. Similar to Dialga, Origin Form Palkia can know the Adventure Effect move Spatial Rend, which costs a minimum of 5,000 Stardust and 5 Palkia Candy. Spatial Rend will disrupt space for 10 minutes enabling you to encounter wild Pokemon at an increased distance of 80 meters. Using Spatial Rent for 1 hour will cost you 30,000 Stardust and 30 Palkia Candy. And it can also be maxed out to 24 hours with 2-hour increments. While I think both Adventure Effect moves will be useful to use during the Wild Area event, I think it's more important to focus on using Roar of Time during the event. Here's why. Aside from extending Lucky Egg and Star Piece timers, there's also Double Hatch Stardust and Double Hatch XP, plus an additional 5,000 XP you can get from beating raids. Daily Adventure Instance was observed to have been boosted during the in-person Wild Area events. The same thing is expected to happen during the global version of this event, so I'm recommending that you definitely run Roar of Time as long as you can with Daily Adventure Instance. Galarian birds were observed to have been appearing way more often during the in-person event in Fukuoka. And thanks to the addition of Ghost Safari balls, especially with the use of golden raspberries, they're now easier to catch more than ever. So don't be surprised if you happen to see an orange or even potentially a green catch circle while trying to catch a Galarian bird, especially if you're still looking for the shiny versions. But be warned, Mighty Pokemon and Galarian birds still have a high chance to run away when trying to catch them. So be sure to throw those Ghost Safari balls with some care. There are sometimes differences between how in-person events and global events work, so maybe there's a chance that the Galarian birds may not have a boosted chance of appearing while running Daily Adventure Instance. But if they do, at least you've been warned ahead of time and you'll be prepared. For some bonus tips, I'll be answering the questions that I mentioned at the beginning of the video and also include some questions asked by my community members. First up, how many Pokemon storage spaces should you have cleared out in preparation for this event? Clear out as many spaces as you can. I know, easier said than done, and I know a lot of you guys are either at the base amount of storage spaces that you can have, or maybe you were able to upgrade a little bit beyond that. So it may already be tough to organize it. So for some tips that I have written down here for Pokemon you should focus on keeping in your storage, I would keep raid counters, shinies, adventure effect Pokemon, certain shadow Pokemon, mega evolution Pokemon, Pokemon that you'd like to evolve to get the legacy moves during the event, and maybe special collections like hundos and nundos. More than likely, you won't need to keep every extra large, extra small, lucky, shadow, or purified Pokemon you've ever caught, so it's probably safe to transfer those. To get you guys started, I'll give you the search string that I normally use in order to quickly go through Pokemon in my Pokemon storage to weed them out and open up space faster. Don't worry, it filters out things like hundos, PvP IV Pokemon, shinies, legacy moves, Pokemon caught between 2016 and 2018, stuff like that. I'll leave it in the description and also as a pinned comment in the comment section. So to summarize, if you can free up between 500 and 1,000 spaces in your Pokemon storage, you'll be set for the whole weekend. How many Pokeballs should you carry? Similar to Pokemon storage, carry as many as you can. You'll be needing them throughout the weekend, but your focus should be on Ghost Safari balls for the reasons that we mentioned earlier in the video. They'll be your go-to ball of choice for the whole event. If you have an issue keeping enough Ghost Safari balls in stock for catching, I'd focus on having a few hundred of each Pokeball in your storage, more so for Great Balls and Ultra Balls, as they'll be better for you with catching. I should say that we're expecting a storage increase. We're going to be getting a max Pokemon storage of 8,800 spaces and a max item inventory limit of 7,800 spaces. And we'll be getting that sometime before the beginning of the Wild Area event. Which raid battles should you focus on? By far, Origin Form Dialga, followed by Origin Form Palkia, Primal Kyogre, Primal Groudon, and then Jacket Snorlax. If you're able to raid and battle with enough people, Gigantamax Toxtricity, then followed by Dynamax Toxtricity, and then Toxtricity and 4-star raid battles. All in that order. You'll need to raid the Origin Forms until you can get one of each Adventure Effect move from either one, especially since the moves are not guaranteed. Jacket Snorlax could take a while since it's only in 3-star raids if you're looking for it shiny. For Gigantamax and Dynamax Toxtricity, it really depends on how many max particles you'll be working with. Trainers playing for free during the event will have a max storage of 1,600 max particles, and event ticket trainers will have a max storage of 3,200 max particles. On top of that, you'll need other trainers to help you with Gigantamax Toxtricity and potentially Dynamax Toxtricity, although some of you guys might be able to actually solo that. 4-star raid battle Toxtricity may also be soloable, but for many, you may need at least one other trainer there to help you out. Surprisingly, the 4-star raids from Fukuoka, Japan during the in-person event were remote raidable, so perhaps that might be a possibility for the global event. We'll have to see. I'm considering getting any shinies from these raids as a bonus. If you're going for utility, the information that I just mentioned will be more for you. If you're going for shinies, do be warned that it might take a while to get them from raids and max battles. What are the shiny rates? Typically, this isn't usually figured out until after the event is over, but it's been observed that in Fukuoka it was similar to the in-person Safari Zone events. And that would put the shiny odds at somewhere around 1 in 128, making that closer to GoFest shiny rates, but far from Community Day shiny rates. I always recommend managing your expectations to avoid disappointment in case things do not go as expected. Do you need a ticket to raid primals or to get adventure effect moves? The answer is no. No raids are locked behind the event ticket, but do be warned that it could take a while to get the adventure effect moves for Orgeform Palkia and Dialga, as they are not guaranteed. You only have a chance. How common are the adventure effect moves? Honestly, hard to say. I heard that during the in-person event, it was hard to be able to obtain them from raids, meaning that the drop rate was not very good. Unfortunately, there's no number to share with you, so my advice would be to raid as many as you can until you get the adventure effect moves. I made a video covering all known wild area global event details that you should watch in case you have any questions. Let me know if I missed any tips, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.